What about these guys' approach to business? Because, like, it's show business, and one thing to get funny and grind on stages, but also, okay, figure out, like you mentioned, like, okay, these comics have an identity. They have a brand. They have people hear that name and then immediately associate something with them.
Yeah, yeah.
So how are you kind of developing your business approach based on working with these millionaires, basically?
Yeah. Well, just like you said, Nate preaches it all the time. You got to have an act. Like, who are you? What's your act? Like, what are you doing? You got to show up with an act. You got to show up with a set. You got to, and that plays into your branding. Like for me, I'm a Southern comic. I don't run from it. When I'm in Manhattan and I'm at the Cellar and I'm on stage, if people that are watching this caught me there, I'm the same comic. There's no, code switching, as the youngsters would say.
Yes.
I'm keeping it the way that I keep it. There's some jokes that are just too specific of a Southern joke to do, in some parts of the country. But branding is so important, and it's so important for the consumer, so people know what they're buying, what they're getting into, what they're coming to see. And people want to latch on. They want to go, that's my person, that's my comic. They're speaking about things that So I think that, branding and who you are and all of that matters on stage for most comics. Some comics it doesn't, Joel. Mark Norman and Jerry Seinfeld are joke writers. You don't know anything about their lives, what they stand on politically, personally, anything like that, which is fine. But there's a very small percentage of those guys that don't have a brand. You got to build something, I think, for people to hook into.
Well, how did you find yours?
I think just naturally. Like when I first started, finding your identity, finding your voice is really tough. But where I was most comfortable was honestly just being who I am. I never watched another comedian or saw somebody else and thought, that's what I want to do. I've never chased that dragon. I've always just been myself. So it kind of just played out to be this Southern comic that's ranty, and it all comes pretty natural. And it's something that, I'd like to think as a comic, it's a lot less exhausting to represent something that you really are than to always put on something that you're not. So this is who I am, and being a Southern comic is a very broad thing, and I like it that way. It's not just this specific type of comedy. In Southern comedy, in Midwestern comedy, it's the same thing. I do a joke on stage about how the Midwest and the South are just about identical. The only difference is a big war. And I believe that. Travel the country. You go to Wisconsin, they are not much different than Alabama. They're all in Hunter's Orange, waiting for the ball game and going to church on Sunday. And so that Southern comedy, I think, also translates. I got a little off base on your question, but really how I found it was, without sounding cheesy, was staying true to myself, just using my own voice.
So because I'm still trying to almost like figure. I haven't had like a clicking moment of like, oh, that's who I am, or oh, that's what I do.
Yeah,
they were like, okay, I have a premise of a joke. Now I have this kind of identity. I can kind of put it through as a filter of like, this is how it'll be authentically me. So I'm still trying to, like, I can write jokes and I can be funny, but I feel like I haven't tapped into. Yeah, like that identity yet.
Yeah, and that's not, and the way you're going about it is the right way, because I don't think if you try to choose it or you try to force it, it's probably not going to be the right fit. But I mean, I also think that you might be looking for something super specific. You're really relatable because everybody knows a guy that's a great guy, that's straight-laced, that's really funny. I mean, you got some bits on stage that are so straight-laced and so, it's like, I can't imagine. You can count on one hand how many appointments you've missed. I'm sure. And that is a brand. To me, that's a type of person. That's but I get what you're saying. I never knew growing up in Alabama would be such a hook. Because when I get on stage, the first thing I mention is I'm from Alabama, because it gets everybody's attention immediately, whether good or bad. They're all like, what? Especially when I'm at a market, Northeast, Northwest, California. I'm from Alabama. All they've seen is Forrest Gump. They don't have a clue. So it helps from that angle for sure.
And when did the yelling start to come into it? And then when did I would imagine developing the yell? You probably had to scare people.
Yeah, it hasn't been pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine you getting the yelling to be funny. I'm sure you had to just turn off a lot of people first.
It did. It turned off a lot of comics. I mean, nobody hates it more than comics. I'm past that now, but my God, it took years and years of people just hating my comedy because I was yelling. But as my writing got better, the yelling bothered them less, which is fair. But the yelling comes from a real place. You know, that's one of my favorite things is like people don't know me. They might see like the yelling and they'll think it's a little gimmicky. And if you hang out with me for a day and you hang around me, you go, oh no. Unfortunately, this is not a shtick. This is a thing. Like Derek's, runs a little hot. But I can remember the exact time it happened. I was at Mutiny Bookstore off of Broadway in Denver, Colorado, a very hipster, cool bookshop. And we had an open mic there on Tuesday nights. And I was there in 2017, and I was doing jokes on stage. And I felt like the jokes were well written. I really felt like I had some zingers, Joel. And they weren't budging, man. Everybody's just staring at me. And I lost my mind. And I just started telling my set, yelling. Same joke, same thing. And I go, well, maybe y'all will like it like this. And I just start, and they all start dying laughing. And it made me even more mad. It just worked the opposite way. But, and so then what happened was being young and not really knowing the game or how writing works or comedy works, I go, I need to yell. That's my gift, and so then I spent 5 years yelling at audiences.
That's my gift. I love that.
Yeah, no, delusional. Okay? Yeah. And, I used to have comics come up that cared about me, and they were just trying to give me, and they would go, hey, I think if you paced your yelling, and then they would walk away, and I'd go, somebody's hating a little bit.
Right.
Somebody wishes they had the magic,